Hi guys, John here, Mr. Forex Buyer. So it's just before 10 to 8. I'm going to give you the general bias and what I'm looking for. And then just after 8 o'clock, we'll hop back on and then we'll look for the start of the trades. Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen, have a little chat, see where we are, make this a little bit bigger. Right, so we've got the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This Thursday here is where we're at the moment. We're basing it upon the Euro USD 1 minute chart, but we're starting off on the 15 to see where we are in a directional bias. We've got a high, a low, a high, a lower high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and it's a continuation and trend down. From there, we still haven't broke a trend to come back on the high side, and we caught some good pips going on the sessions. We only do this 2 hours a day from 8 a.m. till 10:30. And so far this week, we've caught 8.55. I said it was 9.55 yesterday, but when we've gone back over it, it was actually only 8.55. So based upon that, we've got in here, there's a big 15-minute candle going down. So there's an order block there where we could go down to try and mitigate areas and create new lower lows, because that's the continuation and trend down. However, as we're moving into the session here, we're going to be looking to the previous high of yesterday going into the early hours of the morning, and that's this candle here on the 15 minutes. So the general bias for this morning is we're going to see where we're heading to at the start at 8 a.m. Look at the last swing point on the 1 minute, and these are the two areas that I'm working towards. I'm forgetting about the whole big picture like this because we are only working in a 2-hour time frame. So we've predefined our supply area on the top based upon the 15-minute candle here, and then predefine the demand area, which is on the bottom 15-minute candle on the last lower side, because we're building up liquidity now on here. So as we build up the liquidity here, we might get a grab of liquidity down here and then get a push to the upside. So that's my bias for this morning. I'm going to wait for, see if there's a push down here, and then we might head back up towards this point here, and then from there might be a further push out of this lower high, and then we might start a difference in trend to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video for now, and I'll be back in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Okay guys, right. Hi guys, it's now 8 o'clock. We're just going to have a quick update on what's happened on the price. Again, we base this upon the 15-minute first when we start off. We've got our parameters set at 8 a.m. and 10:30. This is where we're going to be going at. We're on 8.55% growth for the week over the 3 days, which is phenomenal. Again, the general bias was we look up at the swing points. Okay, in the 15 minutes, we can add another one. To be fair, we've got some consolidation in here. So we could head towards here and then a further push down. We've got, as we go down, we got highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. We may come up to grab some liquidity here simply because we're forming liquidity along here. Okay. Now I know the candles aren't that big at the moment. I'm going to have to sort of scroll in as we do into the live trading. But again, if we go into a little bit here, we can see the price is actually coming in to start mitigating, and it's coming in very, very nicely, to be fair. If I was to do that and certainly move that, you can see if I click back and back, it's certainly mitigated into where I thought. So it's starting to react nicely the way I thought it would be. This is the big long 15-minute push. Okay, there's several candles on the sellers on here, so I've created this as one big order block. Generally 50% is where it'll come into play. 8 o'clock, it's starting to make its move at the moment, as you can see from here, just to make the candles bigger. So again, we may get the push up into here, and as we get the push up, we might get it down into here to here. So I'm not going to start a trade off just yet. I'm going to wait another 5 or 10 minutes before the kids go out to school. Just going to see if I'm sharing the screen. I'm probably not. No, I wasn't. So what I'll just go back on that. I do apologize. Back, right. So on here, we have had the 15 minutes, the big order block, that all the 15 minutes candles are sellers, okay? 50% is what we were heading, where we were going to head towards, okay? We were nicely heading into this. We've got, we'll just get rid of that in a moment. The bias was a 15-minute up here. And I know I work on the 1 minute chart. However, we need the bias on the down, where we are heading on the downtrend, because it's a continuation, as you can see. Coming down, we've got highs, low highs, low highs, low highs. And we're going to be forming into this sort of area. But as we do that, let's just go into this a bit more. Again, we could head back up into the consolidated area of these candles here. What I mean by that is we could see a bit of a push, okay, hit that and then come down into the 15% before finally going up to the upside, which is going to sort of make a change in trend. So that's the bias that I'm expecting for today going into tomorrow. What I'll do is I'll just put this into here. Okay, I'll leave that there. And then we're going to go down to the 1 minute. And you can see, as that was the 15-minute, there's a lot of consolidation within the 15-minute on the 1 minute block. Again, the push might come up into here to come down the 50% before we push up. So I'll call back in a minute or two just to see if we're going to push back up into, at least let's take a look. On the short, we might get something like that, to be fair, coming down into, there's a big push there for a 1 to 5.96. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in the next, say, 5 or 10 minutes. We'll see what happens on there, guys. Okay. So we're just going to, again, stop the share and pause the recording. Hi guys, John here. What we're going to do, we'll have another quick little look. I tried to get on earlier this morning just to try and give you the analysis while the kids were being a little bit quiet, and it seemed to have worked. Again, as you can see on here, we start on the 15-minute. Okay, I will look for, just as an update, we look for that continuation. Where we at? Let's have a look. Let's make me a little bit smaller. Am I sharing the screen? Let's take a look. Share screen. Bang. Right. So yeah, we look for that continuation and trend. These is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is Thursday. We're in this band here. There's high, higher, low lows, lower highs, low lows, low highs, and there's a continuation in the downtrend. We are now heading towards liquidity here, and I will drill into this as well. Let's take a look, and let's take a look. Let's take a look. There we are. So as you can see, we've got into liquidity here, and we've broken liquidity massively. My analysis was initially maybe a push after this initial impulse to come back up into this supply area before we come down into 50%. At the moment, it looks as if we might actually drill down into 50% of this box, to be fair. So the 50%, we might actually drill down into this before we get the push up. We go down into the 1 minute, see where we are, and I'll just take a look. Again, massive push out. I'm going to change the bias now. We're going to have this under here because we've had a different swing point. Have this on here, and this is going to be the area. So again, that there. That has caused us to break a structure. And now we are going to have this as our TP area. Now today, I think it's going to be a strange day on the market. This, I do believe we might push up. And if we do push up, we will still, this will possibly, it's going to end, I think it's going to push up, and it's ended now, to be fair. We might get a break and a break structure of this, and it might enter on the top side here. We might enter on the top side here on that candle there to get the push down. But let's see what happens. We're getting a pip entry. See, we come down on here as well. It's 2.76. I would possibly, in all honesty, I might actually even take that down to there, the body, rather than the wick, just to play it safe for today. Even though this is the liquidity area. Okay, we'll just keep continuing and watching this play out. Again, guys, if you were not already a supporter of my YouTube channel, just click on the home button on what you're watching here. From there, hit the join. You can become one of two things. You can become a Spark or a member, and there's perks and benefits on both of those things. Obviously, on the full fire, you get to become part of this community here, where we have more in-depth stuff, analysis and things like that. So again, we're doing this in front of your very eyes over the last 3 days, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have been in 8.55% profits. And on this general bias at the moment, all being well, if this continues to push down, we could be getting a 2.24 to start us off with. Again, based upon what I'm doing with this, the structure wise on the 1 minute chart, price is price overall. And you must understand that price is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're on the 1, 5, 15, 30 minute, the hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly or monthly. Price is always the same. It doesn't matter where you look at it. It's the same on everywhere. It's fractal. It's cut down into smaller chunks, the smaller the time frame. Okay. I am hoping that we are going to get a continuation down to push onto here. However, I am expecting this to have a resurgence back on the upside, to be fair, because we have had a big impulse move on here. If we just put on the fibs on there, okay, and I'm just going to put these on, just get this line and make it thinner. Again, that is the swing point. Okay, in fact, we could do it down to there, to be fair. Let's take a look. In fact, the initial pullback was on there from that impulse leg. So we're in a rejection area or a respected area. You might get a little bit of consolidation and then a final push up. We have entered to the pip. It was a good call, but will we get that little bit of a push down to take not so much the liquidity on the wick? I'll be more than happy for it to take on the candle here, because I do believe as we get the drive down onto here, this is going to be a big player in this morning at some point. Anywhere within this orange or yellow box, as you want to call it, I do believe we're going to get a big reversal, and there's going to be a reversal, a trend reversal at some stage. If not within this session, it'll be within these 24 hours on the Euro USD. There's going to be a turnaround at some point. So I'm just going to pause the video. We'll come back on this in a minute to see if we actually hit the TP. If it does, happy days. We're straight into today for 2.24. Just going to stop the share and we'll pause the video for now, guys. Didn't take too long at all. Here we go, guys. Bang, straight in for a win. It's only taken, what, 25 minutes. 25 minutes of today's session. We are straight in for a 2.24, 2.24% growth, okay? Based upon what we had yesterday, $8.55 plus the 2.24. So far this week, over the last 4 days, we have hit 10.79% growth. Fantastic, guys. So what I'm going to do, because we now need a new structure base, okay? I'm just going to sort of, because I'm in no rush to jump into trades just for the sake of it today, okay? We are nicely in profit. I'm just going to do a more predefined area. This is now structure. We are waiting for, in essence, once you get things like this, we are waiting for break structure, maybe down to where I was expecting before the big push up, okay? Or we could have a push up, rejection off here, push to the higher side, and then drive down for another big push before we head off, okay? So that's the sort of stuff I'm looking at the moment. That's my bias at the minute, and I'm basing this between my supply and demand area. We already know we're in a downtrend, the continuation. That continuation is happening. However, going on up 2 timeframes from the 1 minute, we are looking at the 50% of where the 15-minute order block is, and we're looking for the reaction off there. So it's either going to be 1 or 2 things on the next maneuver. This is the zone. It may consolidate for a bit because we've had a big impulse. I think it may do that, to be fair, but we wait for a break to the lower side or a break to the upside for the continuation of the lower high, and then lower low. This being the lower low area, okay? Maybe there being the lower area before we get a big spike on a trend reversal. And again, I'm glad that I called the body on here as the area where I thought it might just sort of peter out. We got that to the pip as well. Like I say, guys, you've got to keep the mind away from thinking, ooh, the 1 minute, it's too quick, it's too sort of analytical. It can be, but if you're using and you're just looking basically a smart money aspect, okay, from the aspect of, let's say, the candle there to the candle there, right? Let's just predefine this before we pause, okay? This candle from the wick to this candle to the wick, it's just full. It's full of selling, okay? So at some point, the price that is on here, okay, this price has to come back up, and it has to mitigate through here, okay? Because technically, when you are looking at imbalance is where there's nothing comes back into play from the previous wick. So again, that being from there to there is a lot of imbalance, okay? So again, price has to come up to mitigate. This is why I'm saying if we get a price break from this zone here, it's 50% of this, okay, to get the price back down to push to the higher side on the supply. And again, all these little nuances comes in time with regards to when you sort of put the building blocks together and things like that. And I hope these little things that I'm doing is sort of giving you these little light bulb moments. And we'll see where we play from here. I'm going to pause the video in a second. But again, guys, this morning, fantastic to the pip, okay? So we'll see where we are when this zone breaks. I don't think there's going to be many trades, to be fair, today, on the basis that we had the strong impulse move just before the 8 a.m. start. So I'm going to pause the video, but again, great. We're in 2.24% growth, and overall for the week so far, 10.79. So pause the video from there, guys, and I'll see you maybe in the next 10-15 minutes for the continuation of this session today. Hi guys, we're back again. Just before we go onto the screen for the update, I just want to quickly share the screen for those guys that are watching this on the YouTube. Once you become a supporter on the YouTube on here, this is my Forex Fire Discord channel. From there, we're very, very active in here. Okay, we do have like trade ideas with the members. We have people putting in their results. Having fantastic results, to be fair. We have a members chat group. Okay, we've got a challenge chat where people are going through the challenges. We've got funded links for different sort of prop firms. You've got video trainings on different sort of strategies. And then we've got homework sessions and all sorts. Okay, so that's just some of the goodness you get when you become a supporter on the channel. Now back to business. So we've had a break of structure. Okay, so let's just get rid of this. We're predetermined now. We may push down to mitigate off here. If we do, then I'm expecting a big rejection straight up towards these two areas. However, we're going to try and enter possibly another trade. I'm going to be a sort of pawn here, and the break of structure. I need to wait for a green candle on its way back up, to be fair. I mean, you could technically see that that's one there. There was a doji indecisiveness, so I could have it there, to be fair. We'll see if we'll get the play up and then back in. Again, the longer term would possibly suggest sort of here. But again, we did have on here 2.24. I didn't want to go too far down here, but if I did, that would have given us let's have a look. That would have given us nearly a 3%, to be fair. But again, I played it safe. I just went for the 2.24, which is up there. Okay, we got that, so that's still for me good growth. See where we are with this trade. The bias again, curve, expecting to push up, come to here, get an entry on here. See if we get this. I still do believe that this is going to sort of try and reject off this area to give us a push up. Now, if I get the touch on this downside first, before the retracement on here, I'm going to cancel this trade out. Okay, because I do believe once we get on here, we might see an impulse move back to the upside, because this is going quite low. If I go on the 15-minute, you can see on the higher time frame, okay, I've got a big impulse move going down, okay, where the buyers or sellers are in control. I'm expecting around about 50% of the play of, let's see, that to that at least. Horizontal rear, the 50%, or the fires one, I should say, is around about there. We'll get rid of that. Go back to where we are. Again, we're already, in fairness, we're already rejecting off this area what I've just marked out there. And I don't make this stuff up, guys. This is all recorded live. It's just simply broken down for us. So we're getting the rejection of an area at the moment. Hopefully we're going to get a push up, then the push down into where I'm expecting the bigger return or reversal. So again, this is playing out quite nicely, and you get attuned to the charts. I've always been a 1 hour and 4 hour guy. But once I got into the mindset of, obviously, the price is price, it just moves a little bit sort of quicker as you go down the time frames. But if you can learn, this is a takeaway for you today. If you can learn structure, okay, and I'll underline it, hashtag it, and highlight it, okay? If you can learn structure, as in swing points, how the swing points work, the order blocks, and supply and demand, then you're on to a winner when you're able to come down and refine your entries based upon the the 1 minute, because all you got to do is have yourself a block time like what I'm doing here, and have yourself set like I'm doing 8 a.m. to 10:30. Or if you're more of a New York guy, you could possibly have maybe say 12 till I don't know, 2 o'clock for a 2 hour. And then look at your bias based upon a 15-minute structure where your highs and lows are, and then bring that time fractally down to the 1 minute, and then see where your areas and your playing zone is, because you start off with a big box like this, and you're just condensing your focus into a smaller area on TradingView, to be fair. So again, we had the rejection from the fire zone, what I was expecting. If we get a breakthrough this fire zone, I will certainly say this will come down, respect this next area here, or at least somewhere near this area, then push up. But if we do get a touch on here first, I'll be cancelling this trade out. So that's the analysis in the run of play at the moment. We've got a 2.24 overall for the week. We've got a 10.79. Let's see if we can add a 3.6 to this. Let's see if we can add a 3.6 to it, guys. So I'll speak to you in a little bit. You're not going to believe this, guys. Like I said, I don't make this shit up. Look at that, bang on the money. Are we going to get a continuation down from there? Let's just take a look. We might have to cancel this one out now, to be honest, because it looks as if price is going to drive further down. I'm just going to go back up to the 15-minute. And I need to reanalyze and have a quick look at this. Again, everything's all done on the fly, as I say. So that's where we were with that. The last down. Right, so this could be a big player. This could be a big player. I'm going all in with this one, guys, for the day. I'm going for there. Let's just take a look. Go down to 1 minute. I'm gonna call a big player on here, to be fair. Let's have a look. That's where we are. We're going back on the old one, 15 minutes. This is from the beginning of the week. What I do is look for around 50% of that. Clear that from about here. About here. And what's the pips on that? Right. And then we have to break on the top here. Just going to move that down to here. Go to where we are in play at the moment. All right, guys, I'm going to call a player here based upon a structure in the past. I'm going to go for a long. I'm going to call it around about there, and the TP we're going to have set to around about that area there. Again, get rid of this. At the moment, we've got 2.24, and overall for the week, we've got 10.79. Again, we may still get the push up overall to the higher side on it, but I'm going to call this player here based upon previous structure to the left of us. See where we are. I mean, I still think this line holds significance, to be fair. Let's take a look. I'm going to put this along here, okay, and see if we can call two players into one, and we'll still hold short position for here based upon liquidity there to the downside here. So we've got two players, okay. I'm going a bit more adventurous because we are 10.79% in profit. Whichever one enters first, obviously that becomes live, and then we'll take it from there, guys. And again, we are nicely in 10.79 profit. Again, I'm using my analysis and a bit more advanced sort of trading style to see if we can get into either or trade. It's just at the moment, again, we're starting to build liquidity here. Again, we might head up towards liquidity before the push down. This here is the low of the low side of this. This overall is a 15-minute candle order block, okay? So if we push through the whole of this, we have created a brand new lower low, in all honesty, by the time we look left, okay? So we'll see what happens in the next 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to make me mid-morning cup of tea. We started this off at just before 8 a.m. It's now 9 o'clock. I'm going to have me break. But again, we keep these live on here. We just pause the recording. We come back on once there's been a structure shift, and we'll see where we are, and we do a reanalysis. So we've got 2 trades potential. It just depends which one's going to go to first. Okay, guys. So I will speak to you in a bit. Hi guys, quick update. Excuse me. So again, on average, on trading this way, the 8 a.m. till 10, we generally get 2 or 3 trades a day. To be fair, it's a good structured approach, in my opinion. It's not getting you to overtrade, but at the same time, you're learning structure, and it's keeping you sort of disciplined, because when you are hitting these sort of growths, again, we go on the aspect, we've got a 2.24 today. That's a phenomenal growth, to be honest, especially within 24 minutes, sorry. We can see here at the minute, if I go based upon, we are on the 1 minute chart, and based upon my style, my sort of analysis and the breakdowns that I do, we are in a consolidation phase at the moment. 24 minutes we've had where we have only moved pip-wise, we've only moved 6 pips within 24-hour period. So we're in a consolidated phase at the moment. However, it looks as if we're getting a continuation down still into the lower part of this 15-minute order block. It looks like we may get an entry into here. If we do, happy days, because all it's going to be is, if I just screen that across there and put this across to here. Okay, we'll put that onto there. We may end up getting a bounce into here, okay, giving us a lower low, okay, and then we may get the return up to here for an entry, not quite breaking the structure, but again, we're going to go for a 2-for-1 before the end of play today. So this is the analysis that I'm going to have. Again, this is a bit more of an advanced technique. I'm basing it upon the structure of the trend, and with a bit of luck, we might hit the lower end of the 15-minute order block, giving us an entry here, pushing us up back towards this area. Okay, if we don't, and we head up and we bounce into this, I would possibly cancel this one out for the day. But again, we're going to wait for a bit, because at the moment, as I say, we've got a heavily consolidated area within that there. Again, a break of structure here. You could, if you wanted to, I suppose, get in on a very minimal trade there, because you've had a break of structure out of that box of a 2 point. There's a 2.1 trade there within itself before you head down into this, before you head up into this. Again, I'm being a bit more analytical and going real in depth with it, but I don't want to put too many eggs into one basket, because I want to protect this growth that we've had today. In all honesty, I do believe we may only get one more trade out of this today. But again, I don't want to take away what we've had today on such a good start. So we'll see where we are in the next 5 or 10 minutes, see if we've ended another trade based upon these two. And I'm just going to keep this consolidated box here, okay? Because what we'll do is we're not going to enter it as a trade, but just see if we get the push up into here and then the push down into there, okay? Before we get an entry onto there, okay? And if that does do that, again, you've seen I've just placed that up, and that would have been another 2% win. We'll see what happens, okay? And I'm just going to put, let's have a look. The trend line, that would have been on there. And obviously your TP, it would have been based upon that. Okay, so if we get a touch up on this here, because like I say, I do like to see if things would have played out. So if we put that on there, we make it a bit thicker. And if we have that as a green, okay, with a bit thicker, and we'll see if this would have played out. Again, it's not a trade. I'm not going to call it as a trade, but I just want to see if my analysis would have been correct. If it was, happy days. It just means you're getting to get to know the eye for structure a bit more, and we'll see how that plays out. But I do want to see the touchdown here now, in all honesty, for the push up to sort of more or less have our continuation and downtrend to mitigate the lower contracts of this 15-minute order block, because that's what this big block is, and then hopefully come up to touch to bring price back down. And if it did do that, I'd possibly just do it to around about here, to be fair. But we'll pause the video and we'll see what happens from there, guys. A lot of consolidation in this area at the moment, though. But we still 2.24% for the week. It is 10.79. So we're doing well. We're doing well. Just need a. Hopefully, I was sharing the screen there. I hope I was. And it's been some time, to be fair. We are in a consolidated phase. Again, I'm not worrying too much because we've had some good profit today. We had most of the activity on the drive just before 8 a.m. to be fair. I'm just going to share my screen and just give you an update on what I'm thinking at the minute. Get my handsome face a little bit bigger. Right, so let's get that fire wand out there. Let's get that fire wand. Right, so here's the fire wand. We've got the 2.24, which we hit today nicely. Okay, from here, I'm just going to get rid of this from earlier before. I've got no interest in that at the moment. That can go. Again, this on the bottom, this is a 15-minute order block. I used previous structure to the left to identify the price come down and making the lower lows and touching an area of importance, which I've got just a pipette above. We've come down and we're teasing the area at the moment. We might get an entry coming down, to be fair. Let's just see if this comes down to do a touch. We might get a tip or a wick entry on this, and then we might get the push up. If we do, it's worth a 2.36. Again, this is going to be based upon this structure. This is one big structure point of a 15-minute order block. If this breaks, then the Euro USD, based upon the 15 minutes at least, is going to be creating a bigger or a much deeper sort of lower on the liquidity side. Again, it's thinking about touching our entry at the minute. We're going to give it a minute or two, and then if it does hit this, we might get the push up. This may give us let's have a look. This may give us where's a 2.36 before this touches an entry. In fact, before it becomes valid, I'm going to have structure points. Okay, so I'm going to do that. There is going to be our move to break even. Okay, so if we come back up, just touch, get a wick entry here, we're going to protect our assets the day of 2.24. We get a wick entry, we'll come back up to here. We're going to be moving the stop loss to break even. So even if we do get the push down and then come out of here, but if we've touched this first, it just means it's been a risk-free trade. From there, guys, again, it just does not want to touch. It just does not want to touch that. And I'm glad this is happening because, like I say, I like to do everything in front of your face. The updates and everything that I put on my Facebook wall, again, I've heavily gone into showing people how to do these 1 minute scalps. Price is price, like I say, and price action. You just got to learn the fundamentals of structure, and you just don't worry about the time frame. Because if I was to take that away up here and obviously had this as 1 hour, you wouldn't think any different within structure. And the structure is structure after all. And it looks like this is going to be a little tinker, and we might get a bit of a push. If we get the push out of here and the push out of here, we're possibly going to get a reaction coming back down onto this sort of area here, and then we might get the push up to the upside. So again, yeah, it's teasing. It just was not wanting to enter, and I've based this trade here upon something further to the left, which is not something I usually do. I normally go from the swing points and the entries, but I knew this was heading down today. And I just looked to the left to the lowest part of the contractual area of the 15-minute order block. And I thought, yeah, well, this is the last down before the up. Maybe we're going to head to here before we'll get a resurgence on the upside. But in all honesty, you might even get a push up to there, which is going to give you a 1 to 8.53 if we get a touchdown on here, to be fair, for where we've got consolidated areas here. Because again, we've got imbalance. We've got a lot of imbalance here as well to look at. Okay, so I'm just going to click back on that and just put it back to where we want price to be heading. We'll give this another minute or two, see if it's going to sort of lock in the price. I'm going to move this over to here. Move this over to, it was 266, wasn't it? Yes, I want to put that there. Sorry about the cough today. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, to be fair. Nothing untoward, not COVID or anything, to be honest, because we have to take tests in the house. My wife works in a school, so we all have to take tests. She's got to do that every week or so. Yeah, we're starting to get, it's consolidating. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to, again, on the preference, we'll get the fire ones. We're looking for an entry. If we get a touch here and we get a maneuver up to here, we're just going to move the stop loss to break even. So we do get a continuation down and out. It was a risk-free trade, but I am anticipating the touch on the lower side and then possibly coming up to this area here. Okay, we'll see what happens. Going to pause the video as we're coming towards the end of the session. We're coming in towards the last half hour. Just got a couple of things to check, and we'll come back and see where we are. Maybe just after 10 o'clock time. Okay, so it's going to stop the share and pause the recording. Hi guys, it hasn't taken long. Let's go back to share. Get the handsome face of mine a bit bigger, get the fire ones. As you can see, we've got a pip entry. To the pip entry, we get to this area here. We move in the stop loss to break even. Again, price is at the moment sort of, as we're getting the impulse drives down, the corrections are getting smaller, so the price is starting to contract. So as we come down on that downtrend, we are possibly going to go down and slope into what we call consolidation, because it's on the down and it's sloping into a flat rate. It's going to flatline and it's going to become an accumulation before that big drive up. As you've seen on the video this morning, I was expecting this sort of thing to happen, and then eventually getting us, let's just make this a bit bigger, eventually getting us to drive towards this area. Okay, but at the moment we're concentrating on this, It's driving down. We've got a pip entry. It looks, it may stop us out. We're just going to wait and see. We're going to wait and see. Hopefully it doesn't, because we've got a nice 2%, 2.24%. Again, I'll be happy if this goes to here. It just means we've moved the stop loss to break even. And you can see on here alone, guys, I mean, I talk about when you can tell price is going to sort of, it's like a coil, it's a spring, it's contracting, it's contracting, it's contracting. And eventually you're going to see it's just going to spring up or it's going to spring down, because this consolidated phase here alone, there's 20 minutes worth, okay? It happened up here. As you get the initial drive, you get consolidation. You get a drive, which we had here. So you've got a drive, consolidation. There's a big consolidation area here, okay? A drive down, consolidated. And each consolidated confined area, the spring gets tighter and tighter and tighter. The tighter the constriction gets within the candles, where you're getting little bits, the bigger the reaction's going to be when it springs out. So on here, you can see we're on an impulse. This was before this morning. Look at this as well, guys. We have the drive, a lot of contraction, okay, consolidation. It's over a condensed a lot of time, but the spring's pretty big, okay. We had an impulse, drive number 2, another consolidated phase, but again, the spring comes in closer. Another impulse move. What we have here is the spring again consolidated. It's getting tighter and tighter. We've got a smaller impulse, but it is a drive out. And as we get that drive out, the spring is getting so tight that we're going to get a reaction. We will get a reaction maybe just before 12:30, where we're going to get the rocket, and it might change the trend. It might be a trend reversal, but again, we have to wait and see. And there's a lot of candles within here as well, guys. If we just go further in within this area, we've got a lot, like we've got a spinning top. A spinning top is or a dragonfly. We've got the spindly candles with the body on the top. As we come in, we're starting to get dojis. Okay, the dojis are basically the price actions in the middle, but you've got equal sort of wicks either side. You don't know whether the buyers or the sellers are in control at this point. Again, I do believe we are going to be getting a massive push on price, more or less imminently, to be fair, or within the next half hour at least. We're going to keep this on at the moment. We're just going to see if it's going to drive and push us down, or will it actually give us our move to break even? I'm hoping it's going to be the move to break even point. There's the push. It's taking liquidity out. You see liquidity resides on here. It's taking the liquidity out, so it's pushing and it's driving. As that spring is coiled in and it's going to explode in the direction, again, this might be the move it's going to do. You've got that spring coil. It might go for a final push down on the downside. I'm hoping it's not, though. See what's going to go, and then we'll go see how it's moving. This is a great. Let's just make this a bit bigger. Let's watch how this candle reacts. Watch how it keeps bang, 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 bang. Now the buyers are in control. Price just does not know what it wants to do. I'll just stay silent for a minute or two. I just want you to understand, obviously, the contracts of the buy into the selling. And again, liquidity resides on the top of here. As we've had a push down, liquidity resides here. So the sellers have been there. The buyers have come back in, but there's a bit more of a body on the top. We might now see the price push up because we have taken liquidity out on this side here. Bit more in-depth analysis here, to be fair, guys. So what we've got is liquidity's been there, okay? Based upon candle to candle structure, you've had the sellers were in control. The open of the candles on the top, okay? And then the close of the candle was here. The open of the candle of the buyer is always the next side here. However, we've had a push up in buyers, we've had a push down in the selling, okay? So on this here, the sellers come down, we took the liquidity out on here, and then we push back up. The close of this candle has been here, okay? So this may indicate here a trend, a reverse in that trend, okay? So we might finally get that push up to the move to break even. Let's just see if that does that. We'll move this out over to here. We're getting the drive, we're getting the push. And this sort of stuff I can go a bit more in depth with at a later time. Again, it's a bit more analytical when it comes to using, even drilling it down to 1 minute candles and looking how liquidity grab. So there we go, guys. This is now officially a risk-free trade. So the risk-free trade on this is going to be towards 2.36. Let's see if we'll get that push in the drive up. Let's just see we'll get that push and drive up on the reversal. Again, if this comes out and it comes back and it hits, if it hits to here, okay, it means we've just had a risk-free trade, okay? And basically it's come back out and stopped us out to break even, okay? Because I called this just before we got here. We're moving the risk to break even. We've moved the stop loss up. If this comes down and hits us out here, it's just been a risk-free trade. And what I think I will do, if it does that, then I will call this trade for today. I do believe this is going to push up to the higher side of this here. I do believe that, like I say, I do believe this will push up towards here at some stage. But again, we're going to wait to see how, if we move closer in again. We've come out to the move to break even. It's pushed through. It's come back in to retest that area. And again, guys, I don't make this stuff up. It's just I've gotten you eventually over time and the years of trading, you will come accustomed to price and structure and how it works. And I hope what I'm showing today is a good testament to that as well. We'll keep this playing. See if we'll get that second push up. Come on, get a push. It might peter out a bit, but let's go. What we're looking at the moment, we've got another drive to here, to be fair, where liquidity resides. It's starting to give us a push down. It looks like it. Oh, here we go. Is it going to push us out and then just cancel this trade out? Again, it's a break-even trade. Again, as we've come up, okay, we've took liquidity out here. We've got the next liquidity. We've got the next liquidity is actually on residing. It's actually residing on the break-even area. So if this was to come down, it's taking liquidity from this side. Like I say, I'm not worried. It just means my deeper analysis has been correct, and I'm getting into a risk-free trade. It's pushing down. Is it going to hit it? We'll just keep it running. It's teasing. It's teasing. Yeah, guys, if you can do as well, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell for when you want to see when these videos go live. You can hit the links in my description below where you will get access to me on Facebook. There is also links to prop firms where I've used in the past, and I'm passing those challenges as we speak. I passed one this week with Fidelcrest, been phenomenal with those guys, and I'm on the cusp with FTMO. I'm just about passing or getting towards a second stage verification. So that hasn't quite stopped out at the minute, guys. I'm just gonna get rid of that. It hasn't come to the break-even point yet. We need this red bit to push through. Again, it's teasing the liquidity. You see what I mean? It's teasing the liquidity of this here. and it hasn't. Let's take a look. See here, it hasn't touched us out. We're in a little bit closer. We need this to come through here and break the liquidity of that. We're just going to keep this dialed in, see what happens. It's going to push. It's going to push. Come on, there's a candle. Come on, push up. Come on, buyers. You see, it's going to push. It's going to take it out. It's going to take it out. Yep. Is that a push? Yep, that's push out. So that's a break-even trade. All's not lost. All's not lost, guys, because today we have taken a 2.24. Again, we do generally, and this is my consensus, okay? So I'm going to stop the share, and I always like to give a rundown. So basically, my structure has always been worked upon liquidity, smart money. I've been higher time frames, okay? I've always hated scalping. I'm going to be honest with you. You get honesty, integrity, and value with me. I've hated scalping, but over time and getting my understanding and knowledge of smart money concept and understanding price is price, structure is structure. I know that as you come down a time frame and you dissect everything, the patterns that you see on the higher time frames happen on the lower time frames. So I knew I had the correct mindset and the understanding that what happens on the 4 hour here will happen twice as many times on the 1 hour. So then it got me thinking about maybe there's an approach we can do with scalping based upon structure, based upon patterns, based upon liquidity, and just being able to stay disciplined and have the correct approach on understanding that if you used a correct approach to scalping, because I've been part of many groups before, and when they scalp, they set alarms. Let's set the alarm for this. If this indicator tells you that, and then when the indicator and the alarm goes off on that, you're coming away from that chart and you're looking back on that because the bell's gone off on there. It's all bullshit. You simply need to just do what I've done for this week is have your structured time. So I've gone for 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. I've gone for a pair that will move based upon that time. The London session, the Euro USD. I traded that one pair, and we are now 10.79% in profit. That last trade that we've taken, I structurally, I analyzed it, and I said, well, yes, if it gets an entry, we've got a pinpoint entry. But on the climb down and the retracement, I had moved to break even based upon liquidity on the next side of the lower high, if that makes sense. Yes, it came down, stopped us out. You could have, in essence, had take a partial and then move your stop loss to break even. But I just wanted to move it to break even on the hope that it was just going to push through. And if it pushed through, it would have given us a bigger percent return. Excuse me, I do apologize about my chest. So from there, I'm just going to, again, go on to share the screen. So that is going to give us, and it's pusher, it is making a lower low. Okay, so it's going to get rid of that one as well. We've got a 10.79 growth. Okay, so I'm just going to update this on here. %79% growth. And that is over the course of 4 days, 2-hour session, 1 pair. And that's it for today, guys. Again, I don't normally like to trade on a Friday, if I'm honest with you. I'll wait until later on today to decide whether I'm going to do that or not. I might actually take the Friday off, to be honest. simply because it's a day where I take my medication. So it's heavy medication, and it does make me bad, to be fair. So based upon what we've done this week, hey, 2 hours a day, and well, that's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 hours in trading overall, 10.79% growth. That's absolutely, you know, if you had £100,000 pound funded a challenge or at 100,000 account, you're looking at around about 10,000, I do believe, if my math serves me correctly, 10,000 profit for the week for that. You know where to come. Forex Fire members, come and just reach out to me, click the links below, inbox me, go to the YouTube, hit the subscribe button, get further access into what I do, and you guys could be doing what we do on a day-to-day basis. And more importantly, you've got this here, the Discord community. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this week's session. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of these. I'll possibly do more next week as well. Again, thank you very much for the support. I wouldn't be doing this content if it wasn't for you guys. Okay, thank you very much.